fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going around the outside, both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taking Anderson! Anderson's up to
Oh my God! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled!
It's very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go!
Oh no!
That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my God!
God, what?
Are you new to sim racing, or maybe a veteran struggling to reach the next level? Have you ever wondered how the aliens reach impressive lap times that seem impossible to achieve? If so, you're not alone. Most drivers reach a certain level and get stuck. But getting faster on track is easier than you think. VRS coaches are some of the best sim racers in the world and offer one-on-one driver skills training at affordable rates to help new drivers learn the basics and help experienced drivers break through to the next level. Are you ready to get faster and get off the iRacing roller coaster? If so, VRS one-on-one personal training is for you. If you've invested in your equipment, it might be time to invest in yourself. Just go to virtualracingschool.com and sign up for a 30, 60 or 90-minute session with one of our world-class coaches, and you'll learn exactly what to do for faster lap times and more podiums.
We have 3 rounds to go. Thomas Simon currently leads the way for the iRacing Grand Prix season. We are here for round 10 from the circuit Gilles Villeneuve, an absolute mainstay in the Formula One rings. And if the racing tonight is the way it's been for the rest of the season, we are on for an absolutely awesome round. My name is Bradley Wingard. Unfortunately, Jake Sperry has Porsche Super Cup commitments tonight, so I'm joined by Jason Fewens to bring you all the action tonight. Jason, welcome aboard. How are you, and what are your thoughts leading into this race?
Yeah, good morning, Brad. Good morning, everybody. Should be getting, obviously, you're saying it's getting into the pointy end of the season now, so a lot of these drivers are probably thinking just about how they're going to play out these last couple of rounds and how the cars are potentially going to fall. So strategy always plays a large part in these cars, particularly with these tyre compounds and the way things pan out. But like I said, as we get closer towards the end of the season, it gets all more important. So we have a quick look at the track map now there, Brad. 13 turns around this circuit. So there's plenty of opportunities for cars to make passes here, particularly at turns 1 into the heavy braking zone, as well as a couple of chicanes and the all-important hairpin on the back half of the straight.
Yeah, that run down the Druida Casino as well is an absolute perfect pass to get a run. We've seen a lot of side-by-side actions through turns 12 and 13 in some of the V8 support categories yesterday and on Friday night. I'm not sure if we'll see much 2x2 through here, but I'll be surprised if we don't. And then both DRS down the back straight and the main straight going to help these drivers out massively. We're in qualifying at the moment, but we'll have a quick look at the point standings. With 3 drops round, it's Thomas Simon leading the way with an 88-point lead over the rest of the field. His drop rounds are so much less significant than those around him. This is the championship standings after 9 rounds without any drop rounds. That's a massive lead for Thomas Simon over Matteo Uglotti, and it gets even more interesting when we look at the drop rounds, because his consistency, we've seen time and time again, is putting him in fantastic positions, and the drop off of points for everyone around him with those drop rounds is insane. Matteo Uglotti is still second, but he drops 400 points compared to 40 points that Thomas Simon drops. And it just shows how consistent he is. We're seeing our first times coming through qualifying now. The man we are all talking about, Thomas Simon, is on pole with a 108.66 at the moment. Tom Walstra won a couple of rounds ago with a 108.9. So qualifying coming in now, and getting that last corner right is going to be so important for getting a good qualifying run. And a lot of drivers throughout the week have been talking about how difficult that is.
Yeah, plenty of drivers around here during the week getting laps under their belt, and as your mate mentioned, that chicane is really, really critical to your entire lap. So you can put in a magic first couple of sectors, but if you make a little mistake coming out of that hairpin on that really long back run down the back straight, and your opposition have within DRS range, you can find yourself in a whole world of hurt going into that final chicane to end the lap.
Yeah, these cars, as we know, are absolute missiles. A lot of people thought that they were too fast when they came out, but it just really shows how well put together this race car was by Mercedes last year. They spent a long time trying to get it right. We follow Thomas Simon now coming around the hairpin to start his flying lap. Hopefully we can go on board for this entire lap. I'll try and call it as best as I can, but these corners come very, very quick. DRS at the moment, or in a qualifying run, it will be braking very late for the chicane. You can use a little bit of the curb, but not much, and run right out to that wall using all of the road. Now we prepare for the lap. We want to stay right all the way towards turn 1, braking very late, run a little bit over that curb and keep it tight for turn 2. It's a very good run by Simon. Coming out of the exit, keep it left, use a little bit of this inside curve for turn 3, not too much, none on turn 4, right out against that wall again. Turn 5 is a fantastic corner, absolutely flat, and use some of that road on the right hand side to brake. Turn 6, keep it left for turn 7, and then straighten up this run all the way down the back straight through this third DRS. Okay, we got 3 minutes left in qualifying. Under the bridge we go for turns 8 and turns 9. Use as much of those curves as you can, but new truck limits mean we can't use as much of them as we used to. They run into Le Pige now for the final time for Thomas Simon in qualifying. Gets a really good run. So many lines that you can run through there to open up corner exit. And now you got the one real chance where you can actually think about what you're going to do. Attacking this final chicane, nice long straight, but in the race you're not going to have much time to think. Braking nice and late for the hairpins, use a bit of that last curbing and back down the straight again. See what time Simon can do. 1:10.3, so quite a bit slower than his first lap, but that was still way quicker than my brain works at this time of morning.
Yeah, some really highlights just how hard those drivers are working as the lap goes around. There's not a lot of time to stop and think about it and look at the scenery as they go whizzing by. So, like you said, that big long stretch down the back straight, your only chance to stop, take a deep breath, just make sure your settings are right and get your head in the right space, so then you can start the next lap fresh and do it all over again.
Yeah, and obviously these guys are going to have to do that 34 times during the race. So being able to go quick for one lap isn't going to win it here, because we know how brutal these curbs and these walls are around this circuit. It is, by all technicalities, a street circuit. We follow Martinez around now. He's currently in 5th position, 2/10 off the lead of this race. No, he's not. Sorry, he's 7/10 off the lead of this race, so he'll be trying to work his way back up as well. Oliver Stepanov in 2nd place has just pipped Tom Walstra in the last couple of minutes of qualifying. Smith is in 4th, 2/10 ahead of Jorge Martinez, who we follow now. And some drivers just getting some final laps in. We only have 2 cars not to qualify. Jordan Johnson not happy with his final lap, pulling up short at the hairpin. We ride with Kent Nielsen now, coming around the hairpin for his final lap. His current time is a 109.962, and we have a much bigger disparity in qualifying times here than we have at previous races, just because of how technical it is and how on the edge you need to be in qualifying sessions around a track like this.
Yeah, of course, we just look at the cars skip throughout the chicane. The Wall of Champions on the right-hand side there, which is one of the key points and can either make or break your lap again. Very, very easy for that car to wash out wide into that concrete wall, and once that does, it's all over Red Rover. So a little bit of caution has to be thrown to the wind just to make sure you make it through there cleanly, because any damage here tonight, albeit how minor, is going to be absolutely detrimental to your lap with the DRS zones that are available.
Well, that brings qualifying to a close. We'll get the grid up on screen for you very shortly. We have 34 laps of racing ahead, which is going to be incredible to watch. Thomas Simon on pole again, with Oliver Stepanov on the second position. Tom Wallstrom and Peter Smith share row 2. Jorge Martinez and Mitchell Welker round out row 3, with Jacob Sidwerski and Andreas Henkel in row 4. Anthony Catt and Remy Garcia round out the top 10, with Adam Webb and Jordan Johnson rounding out row 6.
Through the field, English double on row number 7, Ben Horrell and Luke Dowding side by side, countrymen there. Gennady, I'm not even going to try and get that one. There you go, good work. Alongside car number 20, Stefan Shatnell there on row number 8. Kent Nielsen and Valentin Milanovsky off row number 9 tonight. 1 minute 10 dead, and then of course at the back of the grid here, row number 10, there's a couple of cars that are yet to set a time, so qualifying done and dusted.
Well, it's not quite the field I was expecting we'd get. We are missing a lot of consistent top split drivers. Adam Gleason comes to mind, Kent Nielsen, Kazuki Umeshima not here either. Ben Fuller's not here as well, so a lot of those guys choosing this as they drop around, which I can kind of understand. It is a very, very difficult and technical racetrack, but all of the cars are nearly on the grid now. We have about 20 seconds. No, we don't. The lights are already on. Here we go. 34 laps of the Canadian Grand Prix at Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve, and we are away. Very clean start by everyone. Slightly slow further back though, but everyone away through. Thomas Simon under a little bit of pressure from Ollie Stepanov through turn 1, but gets away just in time through turn 2. 2x2 in the mid pack as they all sort themselves out. Someone checking up very hard out of turn 2 is called a Constantina effect, but everyone going way strong. No incidents just yet, which I thought we might have had, but oh, as I say that, that's someone very hard into the wall. Kent Nielsen, has just absolutely slammed the outside wall of turn 4. Hopefully we can get a replay of that, because I didn't quite catch that, but we still focus on this mid pack at the moment because there is lots of battles throughout this field already.
Yeah, into the heavy braking zone by now. The tyres should be well and truly getting up to temperature. As cars manoeuvre their way around that really tight hairpin and they start that long run down the back straight. This is your first opportunity for the DRS to really, well, actually not first lap, but this will be an opportunity for the DRS to finally kick in once it's allowed and opened up. A little bit of curve there from car... Oh, I can't see that, Bradley. Sorry, I've got Martinez, it was. Of course, in the blue and yellow, the very distinctive paint scheme he's got there.
Yeah, teammates with Ollie Stefanov is Jorge Martinez, and I've just gone back and watched the incident with Kent Nielsen. We'll get the replay of it soon. But the driver who was involved in that, I'll get to him soon, has just had another incident on track as well. So very unfortunate start of the race for a couple of drivers. We're getting that replay up right now. And you can see it was... or who was it? Jorge Langer, sorry, giving a little bit of a tap just up the road. So they're all fine through here. That's Langer up the inside, and it's only the smallest taps, and then that's heavy into that outside wall. But then later in the lap, it was Joseph Lang and Vincenzo Tamina, who had a bit of coming together on the front straightaway. So those three drivers are in or going into the pits now. So very unfortunate race start for all of them. We're racing at the front. Still continues. Thomas Simon by 0.7 of a second already coming out of turn 3 on lap 3.
Yeah, single file out the front at the moment, which is exactly these drivers how to want to play the game. This early in the race, we are only on lap 3 of 34, so we still have a very, very long way to go. A lot of these drivers are potentially still trying to get into the rhythm. They've had plenty of practice and lead up into this race, but everything all changes once the lights go green. It's a completely different mindset that everyone has to be in. So we swing around now the left-hand sweeper into this heavy braking zone again. Very, very tight up against the curb. Allow the car to run out just about out to the concrete wall and get onto the throttle as smooth as you potentially can. Andreas Henkel we are on board with now. Already up 4 spots. So a really good start for him. So he has got himself into a really comfortable position so early in the race.
It's been a really good start, and he's right on the back of Tom Walster, who started from 3rd position. So good start for Walster. He's holding station well, but he is under attack from that DRS train, and Jorge Marquez behind Andreas Henkel that we see attacking the back of Tom Walster's car, getting the DRS as well, so he'll be here in a matter of time. But unfortunately, Ollie Stepanov, 1.6 seconds up the road, is not going to be helping Tom Walster out. Of course, 1 second is the window for DRS as is in the real world, so you see it there, that gap, 1.6, 1.7 seconds, which puts Andreas Henkel in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, a little bit further back in the pack, little battle forming here on the screen as we speak. Underneath the Dart Bridge, round into this heavy braking zone. Again, plenty of runoff there for the drivers if they need it, but everyone pulls it up in time there. As we see this draft opportunity come into effect right now, we'll see just how strong this potentially is. You can see the DRS open on the rear wing. Not even halfway down the straight, already got the opportunity to pull out, make the move done, and hard on the brakes.
Yeah, that's exactly what that's intended to use, and of course he's going to get the DRS again because that covers both DRS zones, as it does at tracks like Melbourne down here in Australia. So you can get double DRS from the one detection zone down the back straight and then down the main straight. So Tom Walster not in the most ideal position there, but he is still within touch, 0.6 of a second now behind Andreas Henkel. Jorge Marquez is another half a second behind him. So this battle pack for the last step on the podium is definitely going to be the one to watch. Thomas Simon has had an issue, I think, because Ollie Stepanov is caught right back up. I'll see what's going on with him. I think it might have just been a bit of running wide through one of the chicanes, maybe, because... or it was just straight DRS. It was straight DRS, never mind all that hullabaloo for nothing. So Ollie Stepanov is really coming back at Thomas Simon, but as we've seen in previous weeks, Simon is really good at looking after his tyres.
Yeah, I don't think Simon will be quite hitting the panic button just yet. He seems to have everything under control, but that gap now is back under 0.2, just down 0.2 of a second. So, as you said, DRS along that back straight leading into the Wall of Champions and across the start-finish line again, really in favour of Stepanov. But that gap, as we have been speaking, has been blown out to nearly half a second again. So a really good third sector there to end that lap from Simone, which is exactly what he needed to do to respond.
Yeah, we just saw Mitchell Welker get a pass on Anthony Catt down that main DRS train at the back straight, and there's not really much you can do. That track, that part of the circuit is very long and very fast, so if you're the one without DRS, you're in a lot of trouble. But now he has the DRS on Mitchell Welker as well. Peter Smith just up the road of Welker as well, giving him DRS. So this is a fantastic battle, seeing not a one continuous DRS strain like we have seen at previous rounds, but we're having a few little battle packs where 2 or 3 drivers are involved, giving each other DRS, and it's really good because it means we get passes. It's not the leader is just dragging everyone else through. We're getting these little battle packs forming, and the DRS is really working to create those moves as it's meant to.
Yeah, all these little battle packs around the track just make it more interesting for the viewers and make us sound better than we potentially really are. So create some exciting racing, and that's exactly what we're all here to see tonight or today, depending on where you're watching around this big blue land that we call Earth.
Yeah, from Thomas Simon back to Andreas Henkel is now at 2 seconds, or it was near about 2 seconds as they crossed the line. The battle pack for third is still going strong. 0.6 of a second is Simon's lead over Stepanov. As we come to conclude lap 7 of this race already, we've been going for less than 10 minutes. We're already nearly 10 laps in. Is how quick these cars are. 1 minute 10s, 1 minute 11 seems to be the race pace at the moment. And Ollie Stepanov holding fastest lap of the race so far. 1:10.467 for him. So DRS will definitely be helping that. And he's all over the back of Thomas Simon again. And even Andreas Henkel starting to close in on this pack slowly but surely. It's 1.7 seconds, 1.6 seconds now coming into turn 3. So Simon's still not at panic stations yet, but that gap is dropping back down ever so slightly. But we'll have to see how that goes through the rest of the race, especially as these soft tyres really start to give way. See who's been pushing too early and who's been conserving their tyres, because this should be just softs to the end according to all the drivers. So it'll be interesting to see how that one actually plays out.
Yeah, tyre degradation, obviously a large part of this series, and just part of the complex little scenarios that make this such an interesting series. So it's all about a lot of not outright speed. A lot of this can be quite mental as well, and play the long game just to make sure you find yourself in the right position on the track at the right time with the right tyre under you, because that could make or break your entire race.
Yeah, and it's been relatively incident-free outside of that first lap, which is what we love to see. So these guys are putting on a fantastic display. No Wall of Champion victims yet. We just had a look at Jakub Swiderski in 13th place, battling with Adam Webb, Luke Dowring, Gennady Kalishnikov just up the road from them as well. This is a very good battle just outside the top 10. Kalishnikov is the one on that bubble for that top 10 at the moment, so he's having a very good day. He is up 5 spots, which is a fantastic start. Most other drivers in the top 10 kind of holding station, only gaining minor positions, so very good start from Kalishnikov today. Unfortunately, a couple of guys crashing out early on have gifted him 2 positions, but we always take those. If there's spots to be gained, you have to go for them. You can't be a gentleman all the time. Now, Swiderski's actually fallen off the back of Luke Dowding this lap, so he doesn't have DRS, whereas Adam Webb does. So this is going to be interesting coming up towards turn 1 with a double DRS zone.
Yeah, if we just pan away for a quick second, but the heavy braking zone, that is turn number 1, that tight left-hander, it's very easy to outbrake yourself there with that DRS, and then if you do that, you can find yourself on the wrong side of the track for the switchback of turn number 2, as we see the cars sweep through there now. So very, very important that you get this right. A little bit of curb being used there, left go right, go left before we come around the sweeper here under the Little Montreal Bridge into another of these second chicanes. Very difficult to get the power down here just right, but the guys on screen, Luke Dowling, getting it perfect as he washes out to the wall. A little bit of slipstream happening here. You can see just a little bit of gain made under the draft. But he will be setting himself up for a potential opportunity to break into the last chicane if he gets a good run out of here.
Yeah, and this is the all-important part of the circuit. One of 2 corners around this track that aren't actually, or technically, chicanes. Obviously, the other being that right sweeper of turn 5, which I think is one of the fastest corners on the circuit, and pulls out early and gets the job done just before the chicane does Luke Dowding. So DRS working its magic. But again, we've said it before, now Kalishnikov, is going to be the one with DRS for this lap. And this race really isn't decided until they cross the finish line, because of how the DRS works in these cars around this track and just the nature of how close the walls are through this midsection. We saw at Barcelona, was my first time commentating the series. Ollie Stepanov was 15 corners away from victory, had a 20-second lead, and then he just locked it up and spun out at the turn 10 hairpin. So it can change in an instant, and especially around a track like this where it is technically a street circuit, it's not decided until they make it out of that final hairpin, and even then it's usually a drag race down to the finish line.
Yeah, so from our 20 starters, we still have 18 on track at the moment, but I think we might have just missed the leader having a spin at turn number 1. Looks like Tamos Simon is further back down the field. So currently sitting in 8th on the grid after having an absolutely cracking start to the race. So not going to be detrimental to his championship because of the strong lead that he has. But of course, he still has a lot of work to do to get a handful of points back here today.
Yeah, we get that replay of that now thanks to Virtual Racing School as always. And it's a bit further back. There we go. We are at turn 8 and turn 9 now, so we'll get that replay for you shortly. But he'll be working his way back through the pack. It was just a very unfortunate incident for him, very uncharacteristic of Tamas Simon as well. But he is in this double draft train as we come up towards the final chicane now, and he is all fine through this final chicane. It's down towards turn 1. It makes me wonder what the life is like in those tires after the spin, because it's a very big spin. And we'll get up to that one now. So coming around turn 1, I don't think he clips the grass. The back end just snaps around on him. There was no contact behind either. So very uncharacteristic spin from Tamas Simon, but manages to get going relatively quickly. Does have to 3-point turn, but he's sitting in 8th position now. So like you said, not massively detrimental to his championship, but not too bad either. He did come from last through the pack at Imola to get 2nd place. So watching him come through the pack now will be very interesting to watch indeed, because he's definitely got the speed to do it, especially with the DRS as it is around here.
Yeah, just looking at him on screen at the moment, and he is on the back of Peter Smith and Anthony Katz, so he has got his eyes on, and he's already made up a little bit of time to get on the back of these guys here. So just be interesting to see what his strategy is, whether he decides to pit early, get fresh rubber at some stage, if those tyres are a little bit cooked. But at the moment, his on-track speed seems to be really, really good. He's got that DRS ring open, but is a little bit far back at the moment to do anything.
I was going to say, but that doesn't matter too much when the guys in front of you go side by side through the chicane. He nearly was an absolute opportunist coming out of there, but decided to play it safe, and I don't blame him. These guys are going at absolutely monster speeds. We ride on board with Smith now. Tamas Simon going to look up the inside into turn 3, thinks better of it though. It can be done, but it is still such a one-line corner. But most of these chicanes are, and we still see moves through all of them. So that run out of turn 5 into turn 6, if you can get close enough, is a really good passing opportunity to just open the steering up a bit late, a bit early, and dive up the inside for turn 6, but wasn't quite there. This is the battle down in 18th and 17th. No, it's not. It's 16th and 17th. Side by side out through the hairpin goes Tamas Simon and Peter Smith. They're both going to have DRS, but Tamas is still there on the inside. He might pull back in for the draft. No, he doesn't. He turns the boost up instead to get alongside. And there's a tire bouncing along the circuit. I didn't see who that was. Adam Webb, I believe, is the culprit. And that was a very... No, it's not Adam Webb. I'm not sure what that was, but I saw a tire bouncing and had me very confused. Racing continues.
Yeah, I can't see anyone falling down the order at the moment, but we might try to get to the bottom of that as the race develops. But Andreas Henkel at the moment out in front. He's got a half a second lead from Thomas Wallstra. We see the yellow car of Adam Webb hard up against the wall where we saw dramas on the opening lap. So his race just about might be cooked. jump on board a VRS replay here a little bit further back on the field, but we'll stay with him and we'll get a clear indication of exactly how everything unfolded.
Oh, that's a nasty incident. What you call this one as we come through the chicanes? We're about 4 corners away from this one, but it was a very unfortunate accident indeed.
Yeah, so we jump on board with him now, so we'll have a really, really good view. It looks like up the inside goes a car. He falls back in line. Nothing out of the ordinary there. In fact, looks like a pretty good run out of turn number 2 in for the switchbacks, and this is probably where we'll start to see things unfold. A little bit of grass on the left-hand rear, and it just spat him into the outside wall. So just a little bit of an error there, just millimetre perfect you have to be through there, and we're just seeing the consequences of what happens if things don't fall your way.
Yeah, it's so easy to catch that grass through turns 3 into turn 4. I finally found who the culprit was of that rogue tyre we saw bouncing down the track. It was Mitchell Welker came through and just clipped the tyre barrier, and it ripped his rear tyre off. But I think it must have been a netcode error because that car's running fine with all 4 tyres on track. So iRacing just pulling some shenanigans at the moment. But Welker is the car next up the road from Tamas Simon on his recovery drive, who's currently back up to 6th. But we focus on 9th and 10th. Garcia and Dowding now fighting it out for 9th and 10th position. Garcia and Dowding. Bit of a gap between them, 8/10ths, but still close enough for DRS, so we'll have to see how this one pans out, coming out of turn 7 down towards turn 8 with the first full DRS of the lap.
Yeah, looking down now, you can see into the driver's cockpit just how precise these drivers have to be with this steering wheel as they make their way through the switchbacks here under the bridge. Hard on the brakes. Be careful not to hit those white curbs because, like we said earlier in the broadcast, the off tracks and the track limits have been reduced significantly through here. And
Ooh. That was massive contact for Andreas Henkel, trying to go side by side through the chicane. It is doable, but space just wasn't given. We'll get a replay of that very, very shortly. Well, right now, and a lot of guys have been talking about the hitbox on this car not quite matching where the car is. So we'll see that now. The slow car on the left, Henkel is defending actually from Tom Walstra, and that's a massive netcode, and it just sends him into the fence. Both drivers were perfectly fine there. Space was left, but Andreas Henkel just feeling the wrath of the W12 hitbox, unfortunately, and just past halfway, his race is over and done. Walstra now is under attack from Oli Stepanov for first place, and his teammate Jorge Martinez just behind as well. So this might be a Stepanov Martinez 1-2 very shortly. Both of these guys have had very strong results. They've always been there or thereabouts, minus some unfortunate incidences here and there. So Tom Walstra in a world of pain at the moment, under attack from both of those guys.
yeah, so stepping off Walstra and Marquez off the 1-2-3 at the moment at the halfway point of the race. So they're putting themselves in a really good position to come home strong here today. But 2 teammates there obviously will be working together to try and get the better of Walstra. But Walstra has sort of proven himself to be a wily old character here in this series throughout the year, as we see a car take an alternate route through there. Ben Horrell getting his 4x4 on in these little Mercedes cars, not designed to race on the green stuff, but he manages to keep it off the wall back on the track, and he is living to fight another day.
That's the Sebastian Vettel line, isn't it? In Canada 2019. Just going across the grass a little bit, but I'm not going to say that wasn't Seb's fault. It wasn't, but I digress. This battle for the lead still going on. We watched the battle for 10th as well. Galishnikov all over the back of Remy Garcia, coming down the back straight. Luke Dowding just up the road, but I don't think Garcia was close enough to get DRS that time by. Kalishnikov was. Double DRS coming his way as well, so this could be a move into turn 1 for 9th position. No, Kalishnikov thinks better of it. And now he has to sit there for the next 5 corners until the next DRS zone, and it can be quite infuriating when you've got the speed over someone but just can't get past because of the nature of the track. Hamas Simon is slowly catching. Mitchell Walker was 0.4 a second quicker than everyone else that lap minimum, except for Ollie Stepanov in the lead, who was just starting to prance away from Tom Walstra just a little bit. And these guys are leaving nothing in the tank as we go to 15 laps left of running.
Yeah, we look at Thomas Simon now, currently P5, so he's already gained back 3 positions that he lost after that little spin. So he's 1.5 seconds behind Welker in front, but as you say, making at least 0.4 seconds on the car in front, so he'll be in good stead in the next lap and a half or so to almost fit within that DRS range, and then we should really see him jump onto the back of Welker and potentially put him under a little bit of pressure. And if you're Thomas Simon, that'll be one step closer to getting a foot back on the podium.
Yeah, he's still got a little bit of a ways to go. There's about 8 seconds between Jorge Martinez and Thomas Simon as they crossed the line last time by. So that is ebbing and flowing, of course, with DRS and being too close to the car in front, getting that dirty air through the corners. So, which is not as big of a factor as we thought it might be in this series, but it's there nonetheless. And Tom Walstra is still trying to clutch his way to the back of Ollie Stepanov. It's kind of his only defense against Jorge Martinez behind. All 3 of these guys are very brilliant racers. We've seen it time and time again, but that gap is now out to 1 second on Stepanov to Walstra. So Martinez is in a prime position here to get past Walstra as we come towards the 10 lap to go mark. Lap 22 of 34 now as we go around turn 5. Absolutely flat, no worries for these guys. But again, that gap is ebbing and flowing. Walstra is within 1 second again of Stepanov coming down the back straight towards turn 8 and turn 9. So his run through the hairpin is really going to make or break his lap, I think.
So the gap now from Marquinhos to Walstra is only 0.3 seconds. So DRS is enabled here. We'll see whether he can latch onto the back of Walstra in front. The run out of this hairpin was quite good, so you can see that gain being made right at the moment. But going to the little chicane here onto the straight, not close enough to get any moves done. But more importantly, it gives him another couple of tenths closer to potentially set it up for the next lap.
Yeah, 1.2 seconds is now the gap between Walstra and Stepanov. So DRS is now out of the question unless he can gain some time back through this middle part of the lap. It's such a fantastic piece of racetrack is this middle section at Montreal. And we're watching Thomas Simon has caught the back of Mitchell Welker. Half a second separates them coming out of turn 5 into turn 6. So Simon again setting the fastest lap of the race last lap at 10.3 rounded up. Very marginally plays out 11.1 of Mitchell Welker. So 0.7 of a second quicker last lap even without any massive DRS assistance. So that gap to the podium is down to 7 seconds as well. So Garcia, Kalishnikov and Johnson going side by side into the turn 8-9 chicane. That was very well driven by both of those guys. And that was Johnson on Garcia, So this battle pack for 11th position just outside the top 10 is heating up as well. We've got battle packs forming all throughout the field as tire wear starts to have its impact, and Thomas Simon again showing how good he is with looking after those tires. He's actually nearly pulled alongside Mitchell Welker coming out of turn 2, so he's really not holding back. And I think we just saw Valentin Malinovici, sorry, dropping some positions, and I thought I saw Adam Webb was just in some driver's way, but trying to stay out of it after his unfortunate contact earlier. So still circulating around. He is the only car. Oh, he did make a stop, sorry, so his tyres have called it quits, and he's gone for some fresh rubber with 10 to go. So he's the last car running. He's a lap down, so getting out of everyone's way, but still circulating, which is what we want to see. Tom Walstra still holding off Jorge Martinez, though, at the front of this field coming into turn 1. Thomas Simon still stuck behind Mitchell Welker as well as they come to 10 laps to go. So all these battles, little wiggle for Thomas Simon coming into turn 2 as well, really starting to play out, and both Walstra and Welker doing very well to hold off some very, very fast drivers from behind.
Yeah, we look at the little battle on screen now with Walstra and Martinez, and Walstra having his mirrors absolutely chock-a-block full there in the background. So while all this is happening, Martinez' teammate stepping off out in front now. It's over 1.8 seconds down the road. So he is checking out and clearing off at the moment. So the battle for the podium at second, third is where the action's at, but a bit further in the field as well. This is Tapanoff looking at under brakes there into the tight hairpin, but thinking better of it, pulling out of it and getting that DRS down the back straight again now. So really, really see the speed difference there as he latches onto the back, just rolls out of the throttle with potentially an opportunity to set up a pass into turn 1. It's going to be difficult, but he did have a quick look last lap, get a little bit squirrely under brakes, like you said. Plenty of trust given here side by side as they make their way through the switchback. He's going to find himself on the wrong side of the track out in the dirty marbles, so he has to concede that, but he is definitely making his presence felt on track.
Yeah, he nearly had it around the outside as well, but like you said, marbles make that so much harder, and that was really well driven by both of those guys. Mitchell Welker gave him enough space on the inside and then fought back on the inside. It was going to be close, but inside 9 out of 10 times will win around here, except maybe for the hairpin. You can maybe hang it around the outside and get a really good drive down the front straight, but Jorge Martinez is having an awful time trying to get past Tom Walstra. Ollie Stepanov has a 3-second lead at the moment, so not that Tom Walstra is blocking or anything, he's just performing a really good defensive drive at the moment and holding on to that second place. We have 8 laps to go, sorry, as the leaders cross the start-finish line. Thomas Simon is finally in front of Mitchell Welker. I think that was a pass just down the straight. Didn't have to outbrake him into the chicane or anything. That was just pure DRS advantage. So now Tamas is 10 seconds off the lead, 7 seconds off the podium with 7 laps to go, 7.5 laps to go. I don't know if he'll have enough time to do it, but I think it might be close if he can keep going. But most importantly, he doesn't have DRS. Jorge Martinez does, and I think that might be his one saving grace at the moment.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting just to see how well Tamos has looked after those tyres, because he was working pretty hard there to get past Welker. And so Welker didn't just roll over and give him the position. So it's going to be a big ask to get onto the back of the podium from here, but in the bigger picture, a 4th place is still a good result from where he found himself after a little mistake earlier in the race. Looks like Welker's got that DRS though, so he is not done and dusted. Don't write him off just yet. He was going to hang on to the back of Thomas Simon for potentially as long as he can. Just a little bit of a move under brakes there just to try and unsettle Tamas, but no change for position. But Welker there doing a really good job at the moment just to hang on to the back.
Yeah, and DRS will definitely be helping him. Thomas Simon is an absolute missile in these cars. So we see Peter Smith currently pitting from 12th position for a new set of tyres. His have called it quits as well. So it'll be interesting to see if Marquez can keep with Simon through the twisties, because then he's going to be there with DRS. I don't think he's going to be able to make that move just on pure pace alone. But if Simon can catch these guys for the podium, I expect Mitchell Welker to be there as well, just getting pulled along thanks to that DRS. So we'll have to see how that one pans out as we get to 6 laps to go. This battle for second and third, though, still kicking on. Wallstra is doing an absolutely masterclass defensive driving. He's making it hard for Jorge Martinez through the middle of the circuit to get past, but then is building just enough of a gap coming into the hairpin to negate the DRS advantage, using a bit of battery as well, saving it through the middle sectors, which we can do in these cars. You can change it 4 times a lap, so turn it down coming into turn 1 and turning it up coming into the hairpin is well within reason of what the car is capable of, and he's driving brilliantly to hold on to that second place. Jorge Martinez is just being patient constantly, and with 5 laps to go, who knows how this one's going to finish. It's going to be close regardless, and more battles throughout the pack as well. We have Gennady Kalishnikov and Jordan Johnson fighting over 8th and 9th position as well. So it's not just this second and third battle pack. We've got a few throughout the field. 0.6 of a second separates Johnson and Kalishnikov as well. So we are 5 laps to go though. So this the second place battle is really starting to heat up. 0.2 of a second out of turn 2.
Yeah, plenty of action on track. It doesn't necessarily have to be at the front of the field where all the action is, so a little bit deeper in the field here, but drivers fighting just as hard as they would be if they were up the front. So Jordan Johnson and Kalishnikov putting on a really good show for heroes today. It's easier to read than it is to say.
Yeah, I've thankfully been able to work with Sperry, so I've got the is it phonetic sound of these names kind of down packed, makes it a lot easier than trying to read them for the first time, because my first broadcast I made so many errors, but thankfully listening to Sperry has given me some confidence in what I'm saying. So this battle for the lead, 0.3 of a second, 0.2 of a second heading into the chicane. This might be the lap where Jorge Martinez gets through. We have 4 laps to go now. It's not quite close enough coming into turn 1 though. I did see Thomas Simon getting slightly larger in the rear mirror. 5 seconds is the gap now from Martinez back to Thomas Simon. Mitchell Welker unfortunately not being able to follow him, so 4 laps to go, 5-second gap, lapping 0.6 of a second quicker. Jorge Martinez might be quick, but Simon might come through just to spoil the party right at the end for him.
Yeah, big ask, but we're certainly not writing it off yet. It'll be one to watch as the laps unfold, with now 3.5 to 4 laps remaining before Barney drops that checkered flag. But at the moment, Martinez there sitting comfortably in at third. You can see him right on the back of Wallstra there. He's been there for quite a while now. So in the dying laps of the race, it really could be an opportunity for Martinez here to get the job done. He showed plenty of patience, and to find himself here at the end of the race, as we say, that looks like a really good opportunity there. DRS and a little bit of extra power there gets the job done. So it's a 1-2 for the 2 teammates. Let's see whether he can hold that second position now for the remaining laps, because he has shown some really good speed. Let's see if he can pull away.
Yeah, Tom Wallstra is now where he started in 3rd position. He's driven brilliantly all race, so absolutely no discredit to him, but I think that move was just a matter of time. Martin is saving as much battery as he could for that attack, and with 3 laps to go, it'll be interesting to see what Tom Wallstra can do in response. Thomas Simon down to 4.7 seconds, so I don't think he's going to get there for a podium in the end with 3 laps to go. And This has been a fantastic race. Canada delivering as it usually does when Formula One comes here, and it's been relatively clean outside of the first 3 or 4 laps as well, which is always what we want to see, especially around a track that's as difficult as this. And Simon at Walstra, sorry, using that DRS, see if he can fight back so quick through that final chicane. Gets the double DRS as well. We have 2 laps to go now. Lap 33 of 34, not quite close enough into turn 1, but he's still got plenty of opportunities with DRS. I think he's got 6 left to go to make that pass, and 1 up the final straight on the final lap wouldn't be without question if he can save that boost and get a good run down the back straight onto the main one as we come onto the last lap.
Yeah, so plenty of action on track, the battle for second and third, but looking back further through the field, I've just been keeping an eye on that Kalinowski-Jordan little battle that's been happening, and they've almost caught the back of Luke Dowling there as well. Actually, Kalinowski's almost dropped off the back of Johnson in the last half a lap, so still plenty to fight for right around the circuit here at the moment, so there's plenty to talk about, but all the action up the front is stepping off with a 3-second gap, so he is sitting comfortably at the moment, and second and third separated by only a couple of tenths. That's the one we've been focusing on for the last couple of laps, because that's where the last spot on the podium is up for grabs.
This battle, as we get the white flag down, I was going to say this battle between Johnson and Dowding is really heating up as well as they come to 1 lap to go. So it'll be interesting to see what Johnson can do on this final lap, but we will focus on this battle for second and third in the meantime, because Walstra saved that battery last lap. He's right there. It's 0.2 of a second now between Martinez and Walstra. First DRS zone of the lap. Walstra 0.3 of a second down. He won't be able to make the move into the hairpin, but he's going to be nice at the chicane, sorry, but he will be nice and close through the hairpin. That's going to be the most important corner exit of this race for him as we come to the line. Excuse me. And this is where he will either finish second or third. This exit, Martinez gets a fantastic run out of that hairpin, but of course DRS is going to help Walstra down the straight tremendously. Martinez trying to break the draft. Walstra's going to go to the inside. They nearly make contact. That was a bit questionable. Stepanoff in the meantime has come through for the win by 4.1 seconds. Martinez is going to finish second, Walstra third. That was very sketchy between those two coming into that chicane. Thomas Simon, manages to come home just 3 seconds behind these guys. So a couple more laps and he would have been there, or if that spin was a few laps earlier even, he would have been fine. But that was very close for that final step on the podium.
Yeah, Mitchell Welker there coming home in 5th, up 1 from where he started, and Anthony Catt doing a good job to climb up 3 from where he started at the beginning of the race as well. Luke Dowding seemed to come across the line in P7, and Kalinowski's well done, thank you very much, Gennady. Actually getting P8, so something happened to Jordan Johnson there on that last lap, because he jumped off the back of Dowding there, and Johnson finishing at P9. Ben Horrell, off P10, rounding out our top 10 today.
Yeah, it was a fantastic race, and we can see Ollie Stepanov celebrating at the exit of turn 6, really, the runoff there, so very well deserved. He was with Thomas Simon for a lot of the early stage of that race and was ever the opportunist, so very well driven by Stepanov, and that'll help his championship hopes with 2 rounds to go. So we'll get the full classified results for you very shortly, and that was a very enjoyable race. It was Ollie Stepanov 4 seconds ahead of his teammate Jorge Martinez, who beat out Tom Walstra in the end, and he was very unhappy with the incident between himself and Martinez on that final lap. Thomas Simon recovers to 4th position after his spin. Mitchell Welker, Anthony Catt, Luke Dowding, Gennady Kalishnikov finishing in 8th place, Jordan Johnson and Ben Horrell rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, Remy Garcia today, 11 place, 42 seconds off the lead. He was followed across the line by Stefan Chantal and Vincenzo Taramina. P13 today. Valentine, I did practice some of these names. Milana Shock off P14. Adam Webb, that was easy to say. 1 lap down, he was our first driver off the lead lap. Peter Smith retired. We saw him dive into the pits with about 4 laps to go, maybe 5 laps to go. So he was 7 laps down. And then our retirees starting in P17, Andreas Henkel, Jacob Swedinsky, Kent Nilsson we saw on lap number 1 coming to grief, and Jose Langer as well, 34 laps down, unable to complete a single lap here today. But that just about wraps up another round, as we've got a couple more to go.
Yes, we do. The championship is heating up for second position. I think Thomas Simon is well ahead, unless something befalls him in the last 2 rounds. So 80 points separate himself and Matteo Ugolotti, who was not here tonight. So it'll be interesting to see how that one shapes up as well. Jorge Martinez having his very strong second place finish. We go to the Nürburgring Grand Prix track next week. Same time, same place, SimSpeed TV, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. This is going to be a fantastic race. 26th of February at 8 o'clock GMT. We will be here and we will bring you all of the action once again. 2 rounds to go. Tamas Simon still leading the way. This is going to be a fantastic race. Jake Sperry will be back. Thank you, Jason, for filling in. It was a pleasure to have you here. Fonty, as always, on the cameras. We thank him for his work, and we will see you in 1 week's time from the Nürburgring.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now. He's got traction. He's going in the outside. Both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up top
Oh
here.
my God. Oh, big crash. Oh my goodness. Half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no. That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?
Hey everyone, the USF 2000 is a blast to drive now, and here's your chance to learn it quickly. From my tutorial, VRS created a free bonus track guide for the Laguna Seca circuit, where you can learn exactly what I do in every corner to improve your lap times and get faster on track. You'll learn how to easily recognize brake markers, you'll find out which curves to attack and which ones to avoid, you'll know when to use the full track and when a sequence of corners requires a compromise. And you'll learn how hard to brake and when to lift. The VRS Quick Reference track maps are available free to download and delivered each week to your inbox. The entire Global MX5 series is available, as well as bonus maps like this one and many more. So if you're a new racer, or a veteran, or just anyone who wants to learn how to get faster sooner, the VRS track guides are for you. Just hit the link or button on screen and get yours today.